Good afternoon, Miss Woods.
Good afternoon, Ms. Vivens.
Excellent. I am so excited to have you here today
Okay.
and to be getting ready to come into your classroom.
Yes.
Now, what is the date of the lesson you would like for me to observe you?
April 12th will work, actually tomorrow, Thursday.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what time you think would be the best time?
The afternoon with my third block would be perfect around 1:30.
Okay, excellent. So, will the observation take place here in your room?
Yes, in my classroom.
Awesome. Well, I'll be here tomorrow at 1:30 to come observe the class.
Okay.
I'm really excited about it. Will it be your classroom? Will it be, when I say your classroom, will it be your kids or will it be another teacher's kids?
No, it's actually going to be my partner teacher's class, Mrs. Hendrick, and she teaches science here, so I'll have her students at that time.
Excellent. So, can you explain what lesson I will see tomorrow?
Okay. Tomorrow we're actually going to be launching a historical fiction unit that's a part of our readers workshop. We do the Lucy Calkins units of study, and so this will actually be the first lesson where we are introducing really the concept of how to skillfully read historical fiction. So,
Wow, I'm super excited. Now, when you say Lucy Calkins,
Yes.
I know that for the upper grades, that and for the whole system basically of elementary,
Yes.
that is our adopted curriculum, correct?
yes, ma'am.
So, with the Lucy Calkins, are you seeing that the students are growing heavily from the Lucy?
Well, in some aspects, I can say yes. In terms of volume reading, I have seen improvements there. Also, in terms of book choice, I feel like it has really helped to expose students to genres that they might not normally pick up for themselves. And so I can see improvements there. So also, though, I have noticed that sometimes the curriculum does require some supplemental activities to just help students to reinforce other skills.
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited tomorrow to be able to see how you're going to embed the book studies and how they're going to be able to start the process of that.
Yes.
So, will there be any technology use?
Not on the students' part. As for my part, we will have some in terms of videos, photographs, that sort of thing. I usually use PowerPoints or Prezis to guide the instruction. So on the teacher's part, yes, but tomorrow, not on the students' part.
Okay. So, do you have any concerns for this lesson by chance?
Well, with this particular group that I'll be teaching, slightly in terms of the text that we'll be using, we're going to use a mentor text titled 40 Acres and Maybe a Mule. That text I would consider to be a complex text, primarily because of the antiquated language that is used. And so this is going to be very different for students. And so for them to interpret what's really going on in the story, they've got to know the language and what the characters are saying. And so that's something I anticipate being a slight challenge for them, but I think they're going to be able to handle it with guidance and scaffolding.
So, when you say mentor text,
Yes,
is mentor text and a novel study the same thing?
No, a mentor text would be more so what I'm using as the teacher to model the skills that I want students to be able to practice, whereas a novel study would be more us actually dissecting that text. But this is more for the purposes of modeling skills, so they're different.
Excellent. So, we'll be looking more at a skills base tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I wanted to know, what are the goals of this lesson, or what are you trying to get your students to learn by the end?
Okay, so tomorrow, again, it's a launch, and so I really want to orient them to the mindset they need in order to comprehend historical fiction. One of my major goals is for them to be able to see how historical events in a historical text influence a character's actions and their motives. And so we're really going to be looking to see at how what's going on in the historical context influences what's going on in the characters' lives. So it's going to require them to really pay close attention to details and having to pay attention to the historical context.
Excellent. Well, I wanted to go over your observation instrument. So, when I come in tomorrow, The observation instrument that I will be using is the same that our administrators across the system utilize during their observations. So as you know, the Trustful City Schools has created our own evaluation rubric for every teacher within our system. There are 9 total rubrics, and we've seen these 9 because we've had to go into our peers' classrooms, correct?
Yes.
And we had to be able to observe our peers using these rubrics.
That's correct.
So, due to you selecting your content knowledge and learning targets as your 2 indicators within your self-assessments, those will be the 2 rubrics that I will utilize during this observation.
Okay.
Now, you will be able to see the data that I do collect tomorrow and my documentation during our feedback conference.
Great.
So, I'm going to give you these, and I want you to look at the rubrics.
Okay.
So, on this rubric, this one is our content knowledge,
Yes.
and this one is our learning target. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to look over it.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to take these home so you will be able to know what I'm looking for tomorrow as far as our grading scale and our evaluation.
Okay.
So you can see here that it has our regular action, our developing, our effective, and our exemplary.
Yes.
So we already know here at Magnolia, we want exemplary.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
We know that we start looking at the beginning in exemplary, and that's where, as a teacher, we start in that process. And then if we fall, then we're not expected to fall all the way to the lowest point if we start with the expectations of exemplary.
Yes.
When we're creating the lessons and when we are trying to make sure that we're teaching it correctly, the preparation time prior to the actual lesson. If we start looking from this way, then we won't fall too far.
Yes.
So it's the same thing here with our learning targets. So can you explain very quickly, so I want to make sure that we're on the same page as far as learning targets.
Yes.
When I say learning target, what comes to mind?
I think of literally the target for the students learning that day, your learning goals or objectives, what you want students to be able to do by the end of the lesson.
Excellent. So I will be able to see tomorrow from the target that you place upon the board and the target that you state within the students to the students, I should be able to see that end result by the end of the lesson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's the same grading as the content knowledge. It starts with our lowest at reading action. Then it goes to developing, then it goes to effective, and then it goes to exemplary. And like I said, we know that during preparation time to getting ready for that lesson, we're starting with the expectations of exemplary as the classroom teacher that is prepared to teach the lesson. So that way, if something doesn't go right, we fall maybe back 1 and we fall into effective versus going all the way back to level 1 at reading action. Okay, so do you want to take a second to look at those real quick?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Excellent. So I had a few more questions. Are there any students with behaviors I should be notified of prior to my observation?
Well, I can think of one student in particular. You might notice that during the course of the lesson, he may need redirection. He may appear to almost be in his own world. He is on the autism spectrum. He's high functioning, very bright child, but sometimes he needs that redirection to stay focused. We've come a long way, but there have even been times where you'll have to physically redirect him because he might want to wander or not be where the rest of the class is. So
I understand. I'm glad you made me aware.
Yes, so
I am glad you made me aware.
If the rest of the class is coming to the carpet and he lingers and is over here, you just know that's our friend.
Excellent. Excellent. So you've covered pretty much all of my clarifying questions. You've covered all the bases. I have only one clarifying question, and that is, are there any specific strategies that you would be using to accomplish the learning target for tomorrow?
Well, I know that one thing that I will specifically be doing is having students to monitor how they're doing with that target. I know I'll be utilizing quick writes to help them. And actually, I want them to start with an initial quick write and then revisit the same quick write topic toward the end to see how their knowledge has grown and how they have progressed towards the target over the course of the instructional activities.
Excellent. So basically, you've covered everything. I'm excited about tomorrow to come in and see fourth grade coming from second grade.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about it. I'm also excited about seeing your target. I believe tomorrow is going to be an amazing lesson simply because it has the historical fiction. You're using the Lucy Calkins and you're using strategies. So that tells me the students should be very actively engaged. And that lets me know that it does have a lot of structure to it. And I can already tell through just looking at the rubrics that you have already started in the preparation looking at the exemplary. So I am very excited to come in tomorrow and I look forward. So I'll see you tomorrow at 1:30.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Mrs.
much,
Bivens.
Wizard.